So we're going to start this morning in an extended child's pose. So take your big toes together, knees wide, and then sit back on your heels. Just slowly allowing the opening in the back of the body, grounding to the earth through the crown of the head, through the third eye chakra. And taking the breath, breathing into the back of your heart. Softening and anchoring into this space. Maybe a few sighs out. Feeling the nourishment that comes from the earth back up into you. If this becomes uncomfortable on your knees to have the hips over the heels, you can lift the hips off of the heels. Have them underneath the knees for just maybe for a moment or two, or maybe for the rest of the time that we're in this child's pose. Opening up the space between the shoulder blades with each breath. Feeling a broadening in a sense like you're opening the back of the heart. Allowing your wings to unfurl a little bit more. And on your next in-breath, you'll walk the hands over to the right, grounding down through the hips. Maybe even placing the left hand on top of the right, letting the forehead come down to the mat. Lengthening through the left side of the body, allowing more space between the vertebrae. We'll walk the hands back to center and then crawl them over to the left, please. Same thing, grounding down through the right hip. Feeling like you're making more space between each vertebrae for more fresh air to come in. And walk your hands back to center, lift the hips off of the heels. Lower the belly down and bring the gaze forward. Feeling the throat lifting, the heart lifting. Holding here for a breath or two and wiggle your tail back and forth. Opening the front of the body. And now grounding through the index finger and all the knuckles of the hands actually. Pushing down as you round the spine and pulling your belly in, chin to the chest. And a few more rounds of this cat-cow, lowering the belly down, bringing the gaze up, and rounding the spine, chin to the chest. One last time, lowering the belly down. And exhale, rounding up. Neutralize your spine. And you'll take the right arm and thread it all the way underneath the left, coming all the way down onto your right shoulder. And keep the hips over the heels, opening the outer shoulder. And now walking the left hand back to bring the right hand back down to the mat, back into your tabletop position. We'll do the same thing on the left. The left hand sweeps underneath the right, palm facing up all the way down to your shoulder. Left ear or left temple down on the mat. Walk the right hand back so it's in front of your face before sweeping the left arm back up and back into your tabletop position. Circling the hips to the right, back towards the heels and then forward towards the heart, loosening up the outer hips. And then taking it in the opposite direction, counterclockwise. Next is broken wing pose. Now, when I lie on my belly, it really makes the microphone sound horrible, so I'm going to try to demonstrate this. So you're going to come all the way down onto your mat, right arm out to the side so that the wrist is even with the shoulder. And then you'll push into your left hand, scoot the hips a little bit to the left, and roll onto your right side. Your head drops down to the mat or maybe onto a pillow. Left hand can stay in front of you or wraps around your back, palm facing away from you. Really important that you keep the wrist at the same level as the shoulder for this one. Broken wing pose. So we just opened the outside of the shoulder and now we're opening the inside of the shoulder. Being very aware, making sure that you're not feeling pain in this one. If so, just roll onto your back and have the arm out to the side. Got 10 seconds left. And roll yourself back onto your belly, please. Hands by your sides with the palms facing down, just allowing the shoulder to settle back in. And before we move to the second side of broken wing, bring yourself up onto your elbows, kind of like a Sphinx pose. We'll just be here for a moment. You can walk the elbows a little further in front of you, or maybe even lift the left elbow up. You're going to, just like we did with thread the needle, you'll thread the right arm underneath the left, scoot the hips to the left and bend the knees, and then sweep the left arm open to the side so that the chest turns to face up towards the ceiling. Moving into a twist. So the palms are facing up. If you'd like, you can straighten the right leg down, maybe even reaching back for the top of the right foot for cat pulling its tail. Keep scooting the right shoulder over to the right. Gaze a little bit to the left. We are wringing it out this morning, twisting and recalibrating, releasing anything that's held deep within your cells. So finding the patience and compassion to stay in the pose, even if there is discomfort. Sending the breath way down into the belly, maybe feeling a deeper twist as you exhale, relaxing the right glute muscle just a little bit more. And roll yourself back onto your right side and then make your way back onto your belly, please. Just turn one cheek to the mat. Let the arms relax by your sides. Perhaps noticing how one side feels compared to the other. Now we'll move to broken wing on the left side. So again, you'll be down on your belly. Take the left arm out to the side and gaze over. Make sure the wrist is even with your shoulder. If that feels intense enough to be down with the arm out to the side, you stay there. You can also start to scoot the hips to the right, rolling yourself onto your left side. Maybe bending the right knee behind the left. Bending the right knee, dropping the foot right behind the left knee to help you stay in balance. Broken wing pose. And keep this one as a shorter hold because it's a rather sensitive area in our shoulders. And so feel for if you need to come down, if it becomes too intense, just roll back onto your belly and keep the left arm out to the side. Now roll yourself back onto your belly. Drop the left arm by your side. Turn the cheek to the other side. And just relax here for a moment. And walk your elbows forward so that you're down on your forearms. And this time you'll lift the right elbow up, sweep the left arm underneath the right, palm facing down. And then pulling the knees over, you'll open the chest up. I might have given you the wrong size. You need to be on the second side. I'm not sure because I turned around. No, we're good. We're good. So the left arm is underneath And rolling yourself onto the back, maybe straightening the left leg underneath of you and reaching back for the top of the foot for cat pulling its tail. Chest is facing up towards the ceiling. Shoulders touching down on the mat or close to touching down. If there's a big gap between your shoulder and the floor, I suggest placing a blanket underneath the shoulder. About 40 seconds left here. You can relax and let go a little more. Letting gravity really pull you down. And gently begin to roll yourself back onto your belly, please. One cheek to the mat. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift yourself up onto your knees and walk the knees forward, coming towards the top of your mat. And then come onto your feet, dropping into a forward fold. Just softening the knees. Begin to round the spine, lifting everything up. The shoulders and the head are the last thing to come up. And roll your shoulders back. You're going to turn the toes out. We're going to come into a squat pose. You probably at this point know whether or not it serves you better to have a blanket underneath the heels. If your heels just kind of naturally lift up as you come into a squat. So turn the toes out, the heels slightly in, and begin to bend the knees. Drop your hands down to the mat. If this is proving to be too much, option 2 is to bring the hips all the way down to the mat. Turn the toes out and walk the hands forward. So for this version, you'll be up on your fingertips, kind of like monster hands, and rounding the top of the spine, bringing the chin down to the chest. If it becomes too intense at any point, simply straighten the legs for a moment if you're in the squat. And then as you're ready, coming back into it. And really targeting the back of the neck, opening the back of the neck here. The outer shoulders are resting against the inner knees. And same thing if you're down on your hips. And gently pushing the shoulders against the knees to encourage more opening, but you don't have to really focus on that. Just feeling the opening lengthwise in the spine and the opening through the sacral region. About 30 seconds left here. If it's become too intense, remember you can drop the hips down. Doing the same thing, just taking the pressure off of the feet, the heels, a little bit off the low back. So if you've come to seated, begin to bring yourself back either into a squat, or we're going to come straight into a forward fold. So if you're in your squat position, you'll start to straighten the knees, straighten the legs, turn the toes forward. And again, keeping the arms in front of you, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. You may feel a little dizzy after being down in the squat, so be cautious here. Keep the eyes open. Roll the shoulders back once or twice. And from your standing position, do a little bit of work on the neck. So I'm going to turn to face you so you can see a little better. You'll turn your palms to face forward and inhale to sweep the arms up over your head. Bend the elbows out to the sides, lifting the heart up and the gaze up, with the chin a little bit tucked in. So you can see that it's rounding the heart, pulling the heart up. You can also place your hands on your low back, pulling the elbows closer together, opening the front of the chest. Now bring the chin down, pull the hips back, and drop the arms down by your sides. Take your hands and turn, well, let's first kind of sweep the hands from side to side like you're running them through water about at your thigh height. Your fingertips just dripping in warm water. You're in the sunshine, soaking in all that beautiful energy of the lake and of the sun. And then slowing it down. Now turn the palms to face forward again. Take the hands a little away from the sides. Like you're turning a doorknob, you'll turn the hands to face behind you, rolling the shoulders forward. And exhale, open the hands back up again, lifting the chest. Rolling the shoulders forward, chin comes down. And opening up, spinning the arms back. Now this next time, you'll roll the shoulders forward so that the pinky fingers are in front, the thumbs are behind, and then just keep them there by your side. A little bit active, you'll feel a stretch in the front of the wrists. And drop your chin down to your chest. Lift the chin up and over the right shoulder. And back down to center. And then over to the left. And back down to center. Now release any tension from your arms, shaking the fingers off like you're shaking water off. Really wiggle the wrists back and forth a little bit, loosening them up. And then hands drop by your sides. Inhale to sweep the arms up over your head. Right elbow bend. Oh, you know what? Bring the hands back down by your side. I think we're going to approach this a little differently. So the hands are by your sides, just bringing the right arm up and over, reaching for the outside of the left ear, and gently pulling the right ear toward the right shoulder. I think we did this one the other day. You're going to drop the chin down and lift it, moving into the side of the neck. This one feels especially good first thing in the morning for me. Releasing the right hand down, bringing the head back to center. Maybe rolling the shoulders back if you're, or turning the head from side to side, loosening back up. Now the left arm reaches up and over to the outside of the right ear, gently pulling the left ear towards the left shoulder. Drop the chin down and then lift it up, moving into the side of the neck. Compassionately, knowing there's no place you need to get to. Now lifting the left arm back up, drop it down by your side. Interlace your fingers and turn the palms to face away from you. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over your head. Exhale, with the interlaced fingers, take your hands behind the head and pull the elbows towards the sides of the face. Drop your chin down and turn your head from side to side, loosening the back of the neck. And lift your head back up, take the arms back up towards the ceiling, palms facing up with the hands interlaced. And then exhale, sweep the hands back down by your sides, loosening the shoulders in whatever way you need. Dangling pose will be next. This is a forward fold. Sometimes it feels better actually to do this against a wall, so you can just push your hips up against the wall. The feet are maybe about, I don't know, a foot away from the wall, and then begin to fold yourself forward. Grab opposite elbows and let your head dangle forward. Really feeling like your neck loosens. Sway a little bit from side to side if that feels good. And remembering you can also rest the hands just above the knees and let the neck hang forward. And creating space. Closing your eyes and imagining how there's just a little bit more room to breathe between the vertebrae. Everything is loosening, more supple, fueled by the fresh air that you're taking in. Sparking up your prana, your life force. A little over 30 seconds left. Probably starting to feel this in your hamstrings now. So if so, you can soften the knees a little deeper if it becomes really intense. Remembering you always want to be at your edge, but not to the point where you're so uncomfortable that you're tensing up. That is not the goal of this style of yoga. You want to think of ease and expansion. And drop your hands down. And then bringing your palms onto your shins, simply begin to walk your hands up, avoiding the knee. And slowly bring yourself to standing. Roll your shoulders back. Allow the energy to kind of wave through you or flow through you. Again, you may feel a little lightheaded from being upside down. So take your time. On your next inhale, you'll sweep the arms up over your head, nice and slowly. Exhale, turn the palms away from you. If you can, you'll bring the hands behind you and interlace the fingers, pulling the interlaced hand down so the arms straighten. Now soften your knees and fold forward, keeping the hands interlaced and bringing the palms towards the back of your head. Release the hands, dropping the palms just outside of your feet and a little bit in front, so you'll have to bend your knees. And you'll step back with the left foot. Drop the knee down to your mat or knee down onto a blanket. Crawl the right toes forward so the right ankle falls underneath the right knee. And we'll take lizard pose. So both hands will come to the inside of the right foot. You can have your hands up on a block if you'd like. And you're slightly pulling the right knee in toward the right shoulder. Either hands on the mat or forearms on the block. Gazing back towards the back knee so that the back of the neck continues to lengthen. Nice deep breath in, maybe an audible sigh out. This one can be intense.
Yeah, I got lucky and I got out, but to stay sober is hard to think about. Yeah, I'm deep into the mystery of not knowing who to be, but I'm learning it's okay. And every day can't be sunny. Standing in fields of honey.
And settling into the stillness. Getting used to the sensation. Befriending the discomfort. Not shying away from feeling deep sensations. And getting curious. Where do you actually feel this in your body?
And it's okay, even if it's muddy. 'Cause we're standing in fields of honey.
And lifting yourself back up onto your arms, onto your hands if you've dropped down. And then pulling the weight over the left knee for just a moment, maybe circling the right knee around, just loosening up the hip. Now bending back into the right knee, you'll turn the right toes out. You may want to take the right foot a little wider. Left hand can be on a block or on the mat. Right palm comes just above the knee on the inside of the thigh, and you're gently pushing against the right thigh as you gaze over the right shoulder. There is a twisting action in this pose. You can even roll to the outside edge of your right foot. Either that or keeping the foot down and the toes turned out, whatever feels right in your body. And you may find that after a few breaths, you'll be able to drop your left forearm down to the block, if you have one, or elevating it slightly, and then continuing to gaze over the right shoulder. If your neck starts to tighten up, you can turn your head in circles to help loosen it. And final option, if this is available or appropriate for you is you can bend the right knee, the left knee, reaching back for the top of the left foot with the right hand as you gaze over the right shoulder. I would not recommend this one if you have tight hamstring, because it is a recipe for a hamstring cramp. So no worries if you have the back leg down. There's no place you need to get, only the space that's just perfect for you. And dropping the hands back to the inside of the right foot, turn the right toes forward again, and bring the weight over the left knee, swinging the right knee back to meet the left. Sit back for a moment in a child's pose. If that is not a pose that feels restorative to you, you can try as well lifting up into a downward dog, lifting the hips up and back, walk the feet in, really lengthening through the back of the legs.
I couldn't find my rest. I drank heavy from that fountain till I couldn't feel my chest. So many people, so much chatter.
It's really critical to find what's called the rebound of the pose in between after we've had an intense hold like we just did. Find some stillness and let things reset. And we'll move straight into the second side from here. So lifting the hips off of the heels or dropping the knees down if you're in a down dog. Bringing the hands a little bit more to the right so that you can swing the left foot forward. You may need to scoot and grab the back of the calf to scoot the foot a little forward. You want to land so that the ankle is underneath the knee. And both hands are on the inside of the front leg. And taking lizard pose on the second side. So keeping your hands on the inside of the left leg, the left toes are pointing forward still, slightly pulling the left knee in, maybe to just touch the outer left shoulder. You can remain on your hands, or perhaps drop the forearms down onto a block or some kind of elevation so that the chest can get a little lower. Keep the breath circulating through the back of the body, expanding the space between the shoulder blades as you breathe in. And feeling yourself sink a little deeper down towards the earth as you exhale.
I can't read my old scriptures and gazing up above instead of being where I'm standing and feeling that one love. You're on a path and you tell yourself you.
About 50 seconds left. So settling in, sometimes it feels a little easier on the second side, because you can anticipate where we're headed. Yet at the same time, I really invite you to let this be a new experience. We're not symmetrical, so one side of the body could feel really different than the other. And pushing your palms back down into the mat. Bring the weight a little bit over the right knee, just taking a little time to loosen the back of the left leg by bending and straightening the leg. or circling the hip in a counterclockwise direction, circling the knee in a counterclockwise direction to open up the hip. Now bending back into the left knee, right hand either on your block or down on the mat, and turn the left toes out. The left palm pushes to the inside of the left knee as you gaze over the left shoulder. Feeling the twist around the waist, as well as through the side of the body. Maybe you'll be able to drop the right elbow down to the block, gazing a little further over the left shoulder. And if you took it on the first side or want to explore it on this side, reaching back for the top of the right foot, pulling the heel in toward the buttocks as you gaze over the left shoulder, that will target the front of the right thigh. Bringing the left hand back to the inside of the left foot. Turn the toes forward and then swing the left knee back to meet the right. Circling the hips in a clockwise direction and then counterclockwise. And now walking the knees forward, swing the feet to one side and come to seated, please. You can stay seated on a blanket if you'd like, or straight down on the mat. Straighten the legs out. Wiggle them a little bit from side to side. Deer pose will be next. So allow the soles of your feet to come together. Pretty far away from your groin, so you're making a diamond shape between the legs. And you'll bring the weight over onto the right hip, taking the hands outside of the right thigh, and swing the left leg behind you. You want to get the knee even with your hip, so you want the knee pretty far back. The legs are both going to be at 90 degrees, so you'll scoot the right knee over until it's settled above your hip. And then bring the weight forward. So you have a backwards S shape with the legs. Take the left hand outside of the right thigh, twisting to the right. You can actually leave the left hand inside of the left thigh if that feels better, or both hands outside of the right. And maybe dropping down onto your forearms or all the way down to the mat, one hand on top of the other. Again, another deep twist into the lower spine. Be sure to relax, especially the outer left hip. You tend to kind of tense up when the sensations get intense in the hips. Swirling the breath around that area, clearing away anything that feels kind of stuck. Feeling the smoothness that occurs, that ease. What comes to mind is like a lake that's nice and still. Keep the legs just where they are. Lift your chest back up. We're going to come into collapsed swan pose. So essentially the legs stay as they are, and you'll begin to bring your hands kind of above the right knee. So not necessarily directly in front of the shin, but a little bit off to the right. A little awkward. If it feels better, however, you can bring your hands just in front of the shin. Again, since it's all about twisting today, if you can walk the hands forward so that your forehead is facing the right knee, maybe the elbows are lifted. You feel a nice twist in the spine as well as an opening in the outer right hip. You can drop your elbows down as well. Walking your hands back to lift your chest up. Carefully swinging the left foot forward again. Coming to seated with the soles of the feet down about hip distance apart. Take the feet actually a little wider so they're about as wide as your mat. And gently just let the knees fall a little bit from side to side. Nothing too extreme here. Just kind of bringing a little movement back. Moving away any stagnant energy that may have built up. And now drop the soles of the feet down so that they touch in a butterfly pose. So the soles of the feet are together and the knees are wide. as we prepare for the second side of that deer pose and then collapsed swan. So this time you'll roll the weight towards the left hip, swing the right leg behind you, getting the knee so it's even with the hip, and then scooting the left knee over. So this time it looks like an S shape. The legs are at 90 degrees. Turning your torso over to the left. Right hand can be on the inside of the thigh or both hands outside of the thigh. Maybe eventually, after you settle into the pose, really relaxing the outer right hip, you'll be able to come down onto your forearms. And breathe. Balance between effort and ease. That point where you know that you're making an effort, you're aware that you're in the pose, but your mind is not consumed with the physical sensations. Your mind can be on the breath. Because you do not want to experience sharp pain in any of these poses. Yes, you may feel aching or stretching or compressing, but sharp pain is the signal that you need to come out of the pose. As my teacher, Rolf Gates, always said to us, relax the grip with which you normally go through life. And think about that, how often we walk around with our fists clenched and our jaw tight and just white knuckling it through, when there is a pathway with much more ease. Lifting your chest up, keep the legs just as they are. Walking the hands a little forward so that the torso comes over the thigh, maybe gazing towards the left knee as you walk your hands forward. Collapsed swan pose. You'll feel this more in the outer left hip. If it's uncomfortable for you to have the elbows lifted, you can drop them down. Otherwise, it's almost like you're reaching forward, so you're stretching also through the outside of the shoulders. Like something's just outside of your reach. Lifting your chest back up. Swing the right leg in front of you. Both legs out straight and in a seated position, wiggling the toes back and forth again. Reach behind the right knee as you bend the knee, bringing the sole of the right foot down to the mat. Interlace your hands just below the right knee, pushing the palms into the hand to lift the chest higher, really activating the back muscles, pulling the belly in. It's a little more yang, a little more activating pose. We won't be here for long. Shoulders are pulling back, really pushing the palms of the hands into the shin, lifting the chest and straightening the back, lengthening. Now allow the spine to relax and round a little bit. Move the interlaced hands a little closer down to the ankle, and then allow the right foot to hook right outside of the left knee. Bring the hands back just below the knee and lift the chest high again. Take your left hand forward. The right hand is still just below the shin. Turn the palm to face away from you and sweep the arm up and back behind you, and then pull it straight up against the low back so it keeps your spine long. Oops, I did this the wrong hand again. So bringing the left hand forward. Same thing with the right hand. The right hand comes forward, palm starts facing in. Now turn the palm to face away from you and sweep the hand behind you so that it lands just behind the low back. Now either wrapping the left hand around the right leg as you gaze over the right shoulder, or hooking the left elbow outside of the knee as you gaze over the shoulder. Seated twist. So the reason we have the right hand behind you is to keep the spine lifting so that you don't collapse down. You really want to keep pulling the heart toward the right knee. Gazing over the right shoulder. This is a shorter hold. I know these twists can get intense. There's just about 15 more seconds here. Turn your gaze forward first, and then release the twist. Keep the right foot outside of the left knee for a moment. Maybe resting your hands just below the knee. And reach down for your right ankle. You're going to pull the right heel toward the left hip. So what you're attempting to do is to get the right knee stacked on top of the left for half shoelace pose. The knees are stacked as much as possible so that you're on the outside edge of the right foot. If that proves to be really challenging for you and your body where things are right now, you can keep the sole of the foot down, just pulling the heel closer towards the top of the left hip. You should be feeling this in the outer right hip. And as you feel ready, start to walk the hands down the outside of the legs, pulling the gaze towards the right knee. And often the head gets really heavy here, so a trick is to make a fist with your palm, stack one fist on top of the other, and rest the forehead on top of the fist. Maybe you can do it with one fist, or maybe your forehead can drop all the way down to the knee, or your chin to the knee. This is opening the hamstring of the left leg and the outer hip of the right. Just about 30 seconds left here. You can lift the chest up if it's really becoming too intense on the hamstrings. And that's the beauty of yin yoga, is that you have control of how far you're going. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's more about how it feels in your body. Tuning into the subtle energies moving around. Clearing, the cleansing, wringing out. Walk the hands back and lift your chest up. Uncross the legs and take them both out in front of you. Again, wiggling the toes back and forth, loosening up the legs. Now sit with your hands by your hips to lift the chest high, flexing the feet a little bit, maybe pointing and flexing the toes. And now reaching your hand behind the left knee to bend the knee. Pull the heel in as close as you can towards your left buttocks and interlace the hands just below the knee. Pushing into the hands, into the shin with your hands. Lift the chest, activating the back, maybe even flexing the right toes, activating the right leg. You'll walk your hands, keeping them interlaced, a little closer down to the ankle and lift the left foot outside of the right knee. Bring the hands, interlaced hands just below the knee again and lift the chest high. Left hand comes forward, palm faces in. Now turn the palm to face away from you and sweep up and back like with a half circle so the shoulder remains open, and drop the hand just behind the hip. Choosing either to wrap the right arm around the left leg as you gaze over the left shoulder, or hooking the right elbow outside of the left knee as you gaze over the left shoulder. Noticing that as you inhale, you might be able to twist a little bit or push against the knee a little bit deeper. And then as you exhale, twist and gaze further over the left shoulder. And don't really be too concerned about going as deep as you can. This is a deep pose. However you manage to do it, because we're twisting so much in the spine. Now let your gaze come forward first. Unwind the spine, keep the legs as they are. Again, interlacing the hands just below the knee and lift the heart forward, activating the back. Reach down with your right hand and grab the left ankle, pulling the left heel closer toward the right hip, and doing your best to stack the left knee on top of the right. Half shoelace pose. You can remain with your torso lifted, or as it feels right in your body, begin to fold forward, gazing towards the left knee, or as you did on the other side, placing one fist on top of the other and forehead on top of the fist. Opening into the back of the right leg, the hamstring, the back of the hips, as well as the outer left hip. About 15 seconds left. And walking the hands back so the chest lifts up. Uncross the legs, taking the legs straight in front of you and wiggling the toes from side to side. And push into your palms to bring your hips closer to your heel so that you can make your way all the way onto your back, please. Soles of the feet come as wide as your mat. Arms go out into a T. Rolling to the outside edge of your right foot and the inside edge of your left. Allow the knees to fall over to the right. Lift them back up and let them fall to the left. One more time, nice and slowly to the right. And slowly to the left. This next time when they fall to the right, you'll keep them there. It's important that the feet are about as wide as your mat. Turning your gaze to the left. Supine stag pose, this is called. To intensify, you can lift the right ankle and hook it just outside of the left, just above the left knee. That will really open the front of the leg as well as get the twist in the spine. If you have the right ankle outside of the left knee, release the right foot back down to the mat, let the knees come up towards the ceiling. Take a moment, feel the back kind of settle in, rolling the tailbone forward for a moment. And now both legs fall to the left. We'll do the same thing on the second side. Arms out into a T, palms facing down. Gaze goes to the right. Perhaps lifting and placing the left ankle just above the right knee. And rolling onto your back if you need to windshield wiper the legs back and forth, or maybe pull the knees outside of the ribs. Rolling a little bit from side to side. And then straighten the legs down and simply let go. Shavasana. Bringing in some light movements into the fingers and the toes. Deepen your breath. With a lot of compassion and mindfulness, lifting yourself up to a seated position, please. And bring your palms together at your heart. Slow breath in through the nose. And a gentle exhale out. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from both inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be happy and live with ease. Namaste.